For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson. Actor Richard T. Jones, who is most known for his memorable roles in The Wood and Tyler Perry's Why Did I Get Married, is going viral after posting a picture of his wife celebrating their long-lasting marriage. When Jones made two separate posts spotlighting his wife, fans were confused because they thought the actor had been married for 27 years to a black woman. Jones' post would read, "I love my beautiful wife. Thanks for loving me, Chris. You're my heart." Jones followed that post up with another that read, "Christy Jones blesses my heart daily, y'all. Love me some her." Now, both of these posts were reshared by the Shade Room and received a mixed response online. Some congratulated the couple on their relationship, while others were confused because they thought Jones had already been married to Nancy Jones since 1996. Multiple outlets report that the couple share 4 children, but it looks like there has been no record of an official divorce between the two. One user who shared the same thoughts would comment, "Wait, so confused. Wasn't he married to a black woman named Nancy for 27 years? Who this woman?" Another would say, "When did he get divorced? His wife was black." This story was picked up by multiple outlets, and Atlanta Black Star would report the same story with several more comments that were more revealing. One user, Clapback Season, would write under the Instagram page They BF Daily saying, "Ugh, this man Richard T. Jones in real life is a habitual cheater and had multiple affairs on his lovely wife Nancy of 27 years. Yep, this latest mistress, Christy, was the third wheel in his marriage for a few years before Nancy divorced his cheating lioness. The mistress, who he now is parading around as his wife, is lowly makeup artist on his TV show, The Rookie. The disrespect is real. There is a right way to do things and a wrong way. This was just downright wrong." Now, it's not confirmed if these allegations are true, but interestingly enough, back in 2020, Jones would dedicate a Mother's Day post to Nancy, where he wrote, "To the best of the best on Mother's Day. Happy, happy, happy Mother's Day, Nancy Jones. You are so loved." Online, we were able to find court documents filed with the Los Angeles County Superior Court, where it was reported that Nancy Jones filed a family marriage dissolution and divorce lawsuit against Richard T. Jones back in March of 2021. According to the website Unicourt, the case status is currently pending. There were also several social media users online who still refer to Jones as Mike from the Tyler Perry's film, Why Did I Get Married? One of the comments referencing the character and movie said, "All the Sheila comments shows how easy it is to hate someone over nothing. Totally nothing at all. I mean, everyone knows it was a dang scripted movie role, but still hating on the black man. Y'all are so wrongly emotion for no reason." The people feel strongly about Jones jumping from a black woman to a white woman, including Comedy Hype correspondent Yamanika Saunders, who had this to say. "Why the shock? He is most black men. Black women the only ones trying to keep black people going. But good for them. 15 years ain't nothing to sneeze at. Here's to 15 more." In addition to these posts, Jones would celebrate the engagement of his daughter, who is coincidentally marrying a white man. The post read, "My beautiful daughter Sydney says yes to my new son-in-law Brandon. Congratulations, you two. God is good." Joining me is our very own borderline analyst, Danielle Miller, to dive deep into this conversation. Danielle, you've seen the thoughts online. You've seen people comment on it. Let's dive into this conversation. I want to first get your reaction to seeing this. When you saw it, what was your reaction? And are you surprised by the reaction of other people?
When I saw it, I scrolled past it. It wasn't really just like I know for sure. It wasn't like ta-da to me. It was just like, oh, nice. And I just like scroll past. And then of course in preparation for the show, and I started to look at the comments, I was like, my mind is go deep. So ask me the next question so we can go deeper into this about the comments, because my mind went deep reading the comments.
Let's dive into some of those comments, because there's two sides of it, and I want to talk about both sides. Let's first talk about Richard T. Jones as an actor, right? Because a lot of these comments are referencing his role in Why Did I Get Married? I want to read some of those other ones that I didn't mention earlier, and then I want to get your thoughts on that, and then we'll dive into the actual conversation of what this brings up. So a couple users said this. They said, "I don't trust this man since he did Jill dirty in Why Did I Get Married?" Another user, "His career was over after what he did to Sheila." Another, "I'm not sure what I expected, but this wasn't it." Lastly, "We still remember what you did, Mike, referencing his character. What do you, and even hearing someone say earlier, like, people being upset because of his character, but there are some people that are truly attached to his character so much so that it impacts his real life. What do you think? Do you think the role that he plays, seeing him do a black woman dirty in Why Did I Get Married, do you think that's contributing to the backlash that he's receiving, in this case?
Boy, I gonna lie. Sometimes I still know if people joking or serious when they come with these comments. But let's take it if the perspective was a serious one. Sometimes that an actor can be so engulfed in his role and perform it so well, people think that's who he is. And in Why Did I Get Married, he was superb in that role. There was no like you didn't feel like you was watching an actor. You felt like you was watching a woman's story play out. So he did that role very well. Now the consequences of doing a role well, such as let's talk about Heath Ledger when he played the Joker. Sometimes people can't separate them. And the role, people think that the role is you. I'm sure Jaleel White still walks around and people call him Urkel. Or one time we did an interview with a lady that played Felicia out of Friday, and people still think that's her. So sometimes you can play a role so well that the public can't separate it, and they really feel like that's you, that the character is you.
No, I absolutely agree. And a big shout out to Angela Means, who was on our platform and, talked about their role and how it impacted her in real life, even though it was something, like you say, you play on screen, but because they do it so well, we as an audience, because sometimes I get lost in that too, where it's like I attach it to you, or I just always see you as that person. But for the actor, it can be unfair and hurt them, especially when we're in this case. Now, this brings up a bigger conversation, Danielle. We've talked about this a few times. Just anytime there's interracial relationships, especially when you're dealing with, it seems like when you're dealing with a black man that's dating a woman outside of his race. But I'm going to play, and I don't like to use the word devil's advocate, but I'm going to play the other side as well. But it seems like when we see a white man, Asian man, or anybody that's non-black dating a black woman, that man, we're not talking about the woman, the feedback for the woman, but that man gets celebrated. It's like, oh, you're invited to the cookout. Let's take a white man. A white man is dating a black woman. It's like, oh, you're invited to the cookout. Come on, brother. Oh, you got swag. You have all these things. But when it's a black man dating outside the race, I'm interested to know, why do you think that is? Why do you think we have those parallel differences of responses to the men in those situations?
You notice how
I know you're going to get a truth. I know you're going
to come for me. And that is because Black women, we don't want to admit the fact that we can sometimes be difficult to deal with. I think that's the issue there. We don't want to admit what's going on in our society. We always talk about this when it comes to love. And it's not necessarily that the woman wants to be difficult, it's just that Black women have been thriving off of survival mechanisms for so long that when we do get into relationships, it's sort of like we tense up. We don't know really how to receive and a healthy type of love. And in the same token, men don't know what it is to give a healthy type of love. We spoke about this in terms of when we did the analysis on Ebony K and her comments about the bus driver and stuff like that, in regards about how white men treat Black women better. White men just treat most white men. Let me say that, because you have some of them out there who ain't the best either. But most white men know how to treat women and know how to carry on in a marriage because that is what they grew up seeing. We also have to come to the conclusion that as Black people, we didn't grow up seeing in me and your generation, Symphony, and probably like maybe around the early 70s, we began to see the breakdown of the Black family. So we grew up not seeing what a healthy type of marriage is and being able to emulate that. When you talk about people thriving off of instincts and people going through life, as simple as an animal is able to connect to its instincts because it is in an environment where it has to come out. We were literally placed in environments, men and women, where basically survival mechanisms came out and not necessarily a healthy type of love comes out. So that's just my thought on that.
No, I absolutely agree. And here's the thing too, and it doesn't feel good to hear, right? Because even though I know, like, especially when I'm thinking about generations before me, like I'm starting to see a change where, you know, the dynamic between black men and black women are becoming more healthy. People are discovering things. Oh, let me go to therapy. Let me figure out all my trauma. Let me get all these things. But you're absolutely right. Now, do I think that's a reason to run from the dynamic of a black man and a black woman? Absolutely not, because black men have not been perfect either, but black women seem to be more, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, like more loyal. Even when we hear Yamanika talk about, you know, black women are the ones that are still trying to like hold it together. Black women, even though we can, you know, be difficult, black men can be difficult too, we are a little bit more loyal to staying, because no matter how many times I've been hurt by a black man, I would never say like, oh, I'm gonna leave. This is why I don't date black men. This is why I'm going, you know, outside of my race. Like I still have a loyalty there, but it does seem like it's not as strong of a loyalty from black men to black women, even if there is some roughness.
I think Black women have been loyal to other people, but we haven't been loyal to our authentic selves. That's the problem. Reason why I said it is because you know why a man can have it so easy when he says, I want to switch to another race, or when he decides to really take on a partner, that's because a man has his standards and his morals and what he wants in a relationship, and he's sticking to that. Women, we bend a lot because we just trying to please people. See, that's another thing about the survival mechanism, because at the end of the day, no woman wants to end up alone. So we moving away from what is authentic to us, and we trying to be loyal to other people. And I think that's one of the issues, and that's why we stay so hard on our our black men, because it's two attributes. It's number one, we don't want to end up by ourselves realistically. And then number two, we sway in left, right, and center instead of just trying to root ourselves in who we are. And I keep on using this word authentically because a lot of us as women, we were always persuaded and groomed into beings that other people wanted us to be. And from us trying to be what other people wanted us to be, especially in this internet age, we are also like surrounding our thoughts and our relationships around that as well, which is unhealthy. And this is why your morals and stuff are bending. So the minute you stop doing that and the minute you stand firm on what you are and who you are and what you want out of life, like, trust me, the loyalty that you are given to other people will thrive within yourself, and you'll begin to see, you'll attract the type of person that you ultimately want to be with. And then that's another thing, how love and communication becomes easier between the man and the woman. So
Yeah.
yeah. I hope I
Yeah,
explained that properly. And I agree with Symphony. I love my black men. I love y'all. I love. And
yeah, and
I'm
I
not
know,
beating down on black
the
women either.
correct. And I was just going to say that, you know, the comments, because it's a very triggering conversation, because, and even as I'm like talking through it, I'm trying to make sure that I'm not bashing my black men, I'm not bashing my black women, because we have so much to unpack as a community, but it just needs to be done together. But it's going to be tough conversations like this. So I do challenge people that are going to be in the comments, hey, have your thoughts, and I'm totally fine with you coming at us, and you may not agree, but there needs to be some dialogue between us in order to continue to move us forward. Because as I always say, Danielle, black men need black women and black women need black men. And here's the thing, everybody can't go. So I'm not expecting every black man to marry a black woman. I'm not expecting every black woman to marry a black man. All I ask, if you step outside the race, don't go bashing your people. Black women, if you date a white man, Mexican, whoever, you don't have to bash black men to do that. Because if you really love that man for who he is, then you wouldn't have to bash that. And same thing for my black men. When you step outside of your race, you don't have to talk about black women. You don't have to tell her, oh, they got attitudes. And if it was just too tough for you to handle, say that and move on. It's okay. And that's in any dynamic for black men and black women. So I don't want to come at anybody. It's just love who you love without putting down, you know, your people. And I think that's just, but you know, the comments gonna be the comments, Danielle. So, you know, I appreciate you for having it.
I don't mind. I don't mind.
Really quick before we go, there's a couple black men that we seen get it right that are dating black women in the industry that have been doing very well. I know you had a couple examples earlier, and I just want you to shout them out, because I know that was something that you mentioned earlier before we started filming.
And these are, you have Denzel Washington and his wife, Beautiful couple. They've been married for years. And again, the dynamic, she understands. They have a love language between them. John Washington, I think that's their son name. He spoke about it in one of his interviews. And then you also have LeBron James and Savannah James. Beautiful couple. Yeah, love, 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 love. Love, love, love. Then you always also have Morris Chestnut. The internet went in a frenzy when they found out that he was married, and he was like, "Look, my personal life is my personal life, respectfully." And then you have a lot of successful Black men who are married to Black women.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much, Danielle, for joining me. Again, Black men, we love you. Black women, we love you. Danielle, before I let you go anywhere, to give you the love, how can people keep up with everything you have going on?
So you can keep up with me on my Instagram page. It's DEEA Miller. You can also keep up with me on YouTube. Wait, the Twitter handle is the same thing, but again, I didn't say every episode. I don't tweet much. One day I probably will, but for right now, I don't tweet much. And then you also can follow me on my YouTube page, Danielle DENIELLE. Also on Facebook, DENIELLE. And also, I'm an entertainment reporter for the R News station here in the Bahamas. So keep up with me on everything that we have going on entertainment wise here in the sunny islands of the Bahamas.
I know we got a little sun here in Atlanta. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but we got a little sun this week. So we're not in the Bahamas, but we do got some of y'all sun this week, just a little bit. But again, thank you, Danielle, for joining me in on this conversation. Again, Black men, Black women, we love you. But hey, you heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts about actor Richard T. Jones receiving backlash about his new wife? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson. So we just released hypealerts.com, which gives you, our community, the opportunity to submit breaking news, interview requests, and/or a throwback story. And I know how much I love those throwback stories. Now, this is exciting to me because one, I'm always reporting on these things, but also I think it's important and valuable for our content to reflect the pulse of the culture. So what are you still doing here? Message us at hypealerts.com and I hope to cover your story. Make it good too. Don't give me no stuff. Give me something good. Make me feel good. Something that really speaks to our people. Something good. Message us.